All right, so I've been talking to a lot of people about trying to figure out how to make these Hondas idle under oh fuck. All right, so I'm talking to a lot of people about trying to figure out how to make these Hondas idle underwater better. We kind of proved that the copper 90 didn't work. It definitely doesn't help with idling underwater. Doesn't seem to help with startup underwater. Doesn't seem to do much of anything other than make it sound weird. Not real surprised by that, but we did try it out in the other video. Now we're trying out another common so-called solution. This is an O2 delete. Basically, it bypasses your O2 sensor and replaces it with two resistors. These resistors have values that keep it from throwing a check engine light, and it removes the O2 sensor from the loop. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and his 420 idles underwater really good. And it has a bad O2 sensor. So it got me thinking, maybe if the O2 sensor is bad, or maybe if you're running an O2 delete, it keeps the engine in some kind of a higher idle state, right? Because this engine has an idle air control valve, so it might bump the idle up a little bit, which then would help it idle underwater with a higher idle. So we're gonna try this O2 delete, see if that helps. I'm not a fan of changing things you don't have to change on a Honda, but my 520 doesn't idle underwater quite as well as my other 500s have. Yes, it's still very new, yada yada yada. So we're going to put this O2 delete on there, and we're going to repeat the testing we did with the copper 90 more or less. So this is really easy. Your O2 sensor plug, it snaps onto the air box right here. So I already had it undone. It snaps up like that. I'm going to tuck my old O2 sensor wire up over here so it doesn't hit the exhaust and melt the connector. And then we're going to add a little zip tie. But yeah, that's really easy to do. There's a bunch of different guys that sell those O2 sensors on Facebook. Sometimes they're hard to find, but I think right now there's a couple different people making them. All it really is replacing, like I said, your O2 sensor with a little tiny, two little tiny resistors. And I'm not going to get into it here how an O2 sensor works or why it burns out or any of that. There are a ton of good YouTube videos that other people have made. So if you're interested in this, do some research first and try to figure out, for yourself how an O2 sensor works and what are the two circuits in there that the resistors are replacing, and learn some shit. So you may notice gas coming out of this vent line. That's because John overfilled the Rubicon. You can't really top these things off if you're going to snorkel them, because the gas will spray out on your leg. The O2 sensor delete seems to be working. I do not have a check engine light. Also, the engine's cold right now, so it generally wants to idle when it's cold anyways, so we're just going to go ahead and back in just to verify that functionality. Ooh, the pond water is very warm today. It's all stirred up from the Land Cruiser. The Land Cruiser's stuck over there for a couple hours. Idling pretty good. Let's go a little deeper. Oh yeah, it's idling very well. Not real surprising because, again, we are not warmed up yet. So now we're going to ride it around some and let it warm up and repeat the test. The engine is now fully warmed up, 2 bars, rode it around for about 15 minutes. Let's see if we can get it to stall. It's worth noting that on Robin's bike, this very same O2 delete, the yellow Rubicon, did not fix the issue. Oh, it still died. How disappointing. Let's go in there for a little while though and let it idle down and see if it'll, let it cool down completely and see if it'll idle. My fish are all confused. That's steep. Oh, that's very steep. Might flip the bike over. That was close. Pond drops off pretty good right there. That's where the old Land Cruiser got buried. Oh wow. Land Cruiser dug a bit of a hole. So it's been in the water for a little while now. Everything should be calmed down. Here's the question, will it idle? No, it'll die, I can tell. I'm not even gonna bother letting it die. It's definitely not gonna idle. So the O2 delete is not the solution. But what if I modify an O2 sensor to make it fail? Maybe we'll try that next. A lot of people ask, why is idling underwater really required? Well, it's not. Oh shit, dropped off. It's not really required, but it is very helpful. In situations where you need to lean over to the left side of the bike, you don't have to keep your thumb on the throttle. It comes in very handy.